Attorney Darrell O'Neill and the special guest host, Attorney Jerome Payne. Live TV talk on your digital device, on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Download the SVP TV app right now. Check us out every Tuesday on Comcast Cable, Channel 17, 8:30 p.m. And we are live every Friday on Facebook Live, 6 o'clock in the evening. You've got a question? Our attorneys have the answer. So let's talk law with Attorney Darrell O'Neill on the SVP TV network.
Welcome to Talking Law with Darrell O'Neill. I'm your host. I got my main man, Jerome.
What's up, Darrell?
Nothing much.
All right, man.
You know, we spent a lot of time last week, man. But before we talk, man, let's get some shout outs.
Shout outs, absolutely.
We need to say welcome to Little Rock.
All right.
I always try to go as far west as we can.
That's good.
So welcome to Little Rock. Welcome to West Memphis. Welcome to Memphis, Shelby County. Welcome to Mississippi. Cannot forget the great state of Missouri.
Absolutely.
Hey, Mom.
hey, Darrell, and it's so exciting that the bridge is open, man.
It is.
Man, you know that was what, at least 2 months.
It really was.
Well, traffic was bagged up for days, man.
It was just a nightmare, man. I mean, luckily, you know, I didn't. You know, I used to go over there and eat at this restaurant.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I hadn't been over there in a while, and really didn't get to go over there. So I'm gonna give him a shout out too. Man.
All right, then. Yeah.
Ron's Family Affair.
Okay. I might check him out.
Man.
The food is good.
Man, Ron make a butter roll, man, and make you punch it out, man.
And slap your mama food,
man,
huh?
I don't know about slapping your mama, because you gotta be real good.
Yeah, slap your mama, yeah.
But that butter roll he make is pretty good.
Oh, that's good to know.
So,
that's good to know.
Welcome, Ron. Good to see you. So anyway, we were talking about the moratorium.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
And, you know, of course, obviously, we always going to have some disagreements on how that thing should roll itself out.
It's no question about that. Well, Darrell, we know you always say if you put 10 lawyers in the room together, you're going to have 10 different opinions about what's going on.
Probably 11.
Yeah, that's why you take the one in the dress to tell us who's right or wrong, right? In the black dress, yeah.
You take, you know, that's what I always tell somebody, man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, my job ain't to make the decision.
That's exactly right.
Talk to the person in the black robe.
That's right.
And if you don't like the, you know, and I've said this to judges.
Yeah.
I said, well, Your Honor, you know, you got the black robe.
Right.
And I know if I'm not satisfied with your decision, I can go see the three wise men.
Right. That's
and every time I've said that to a judge, they look at me like, that's a little over the top. Because one judge actually asked me, Mr. O'Neill, you threatening me? I said, no, Your Honor, I am not threatening. I said, I'm just expressing my rights.
Right.
I mean, I have a right to do that.
That's exactly
right.
right.
Like I said, I mean, the rule is the rule.
Right.
I'm saying X.
Right.
You know, and again, you know, I don't disagree with. If I disagree with you, I mean, we can let the three wise men figure it out.
That's how it rolls. Yes.
You know, so, but anyway, but this moratorium, Jerome, I mean, you know, the president came back and did issue a, you know, just a, you know, actually this is a little different than the previous moratorium.
It is.
And the president issued, you know, so I think this may have been more of an executive order moratorium than the other one was not an executive order. It actually just came from running the branches of the executive branch.
That's right.
You know, it came from the CDC.
And that's good because you can do a little education here right now because remember, we grew up knowing that there are 3 branches of government. Mm-hmm. It's the executive, the legislative, and judicial branches. And they're co-equal.
Yeah, they're co-equal.
Yeah,
none of them gets more rights than the other.
That's right.
And so, you know, the executive branch has certain powers.
That's right.
You know, but then, you know, the duties to enact laws, to write laws, and to develop laws. I'm sorry, to write laws, not develop. I'm wrong there.
Right.
But to write laws is the legislative.
And that's what it means. They legislate.
Yeah.
And that's why you have sometimes people say that you have activist judges who are legislating from the bench, which is a no-no.
Right.
Yeah.
The judge's job or the judicial branch is the job of to enforce or to interpret the legislation.
That's right.
You know, I mean, so if there's some disagreement on what it says, then the judicial branch can interpret it. And like they did in Patterson, I don't know if you remember Patterson, a real old civil rights case, with the judicial branch made a ruling, and the legislative branch, Supreme Court case Patterson, legislative branch was not satisfied with that ruling and overruled it.
Okay.
Specifically in the
Is that
legislation, they said we're overruling this case
Is
law.
that right?
And the Tennessee, the legislators did that here in Tennessee. When the summary judgment rule came out, what happened is the Tennessee Supreme Court had issued the ruling is it was Hannon versus Alltel and Martin, versus the railroad. I can't remember which, So when what happened is they said that the put up, shut up standard that come out of the federal district doesn't apply in the state district. And, our standard is, you have to negate an essential element of somebody's case.
Okay.
And and until you negate an essential element of somebody's case, the non-moving party doesn't even have a duty.
Yeah.
And it also went on to say that the non-moving party is entitled to prove damages at trial. So just because they can't prove damages doesn't mean you get to dismiss their case on summary judgment. So that was kind of what the case law kind of, unfolded itself.
Okay.
Man, the legislator came back in and specifically said we're gonna abide by the Celotex standard, the old put up, shut up standard, and that's what we're doing, and we're overruling Hannon and Alltel.
Okay.
So they pretty much came in and almost specifically said that. So said all that to say, the executive branch has now come out and edited or reclassified or redone this moratorium.
And I like that too, because what happens is, and that's why the law is so really beautiful, because they came back and said that the first one was unconstitutional, which really gives you a pathway on how to make it constitutional.
It really does.
Which is what the president attempted to do. He cured all of the problems that they said was wrong with it and shot it back up there again to see if it will pass constitutional muster.
Well, again, the president is a lawyer.
Yes.
I mean, and I think I was going to say the last three, but I'm wrong. Two of the last three were lawyers.
I don't even want to call his name when we don't know what he was.
Well, he's a businessman, but I mean, that's all.
But you're right. It was Obama was a lawyer. Well, Bush wasn't a lawyer.
No, Daddy Bush or
But
son,
the one before
Clinton was a lawyer.
Yeah, and Kamala, she's a lawyer too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a number that have had law degrees. So, but so I mean, they're smart enough to try to figure out
That's right.
What this thing should look like, or at least they have enough of smart people surrounding them to make everybody do or get it to where it needs to be.
Exactly.
To meet constitutional muster. But here's what happens, and I think what even the president said is, where this thing has not been overruled, it takes effect.
That's exactly right.
Where it has been overruled, obviously he can't overrule the judicial branch. Only the legislators can come in and do that.
That's exactly right.
So he pretty much said where it is. So now where does that leave us? Well, that leaves us in Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, and
Michigan.
So it leaves us in Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, and Michigan, which is the Sixth
Sixth Circuit, right.
It leaves us in those 4 states that the moratorium is unconstitutional.
That's right.
So whatever President Biden has put in place, it doesn't matter. Because it's
Right.
already been ruled unconstitutional.
That's right.
Now, in Mississippi, which is the Fifth Circuit, which is, I think, Mississippi, Texas, Louisiana, I can't remember the fourth one.
I'm not sure.
But the Fifth Circuit has also said it's unconstitutional.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, so now you got Mississippi, Texas, Louisiana. So you got 7 states. It's probably 8. I just don't know what that 4th state is. So you got at least 7 states that have now said that moratorium.
Well, I'd rather do it by circuits, because because that's what makes the trip to the Supreme Court, when you have the circuits ruling in a different way.
Yeah.
Like the 6th and the 5th have said it's unconstitutional, but like the 9th and those northern.
Yeah, the 9th Circuit, which is the California's the 10th, isn't it?
I'm not sure there.
Yeah,
the circuits.
so the 9th and the 10th, if I'm not mistaken, have said that it is constitutional.
Right.
And I think the D.C. Circuit has said it's constitutional.
And those are the liberal.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but what ends up happening is now at some point the Supreme Court, if it wants to, and I think it had rejected accepting it at one point.
Well, they did. What happened was that's what made them so cautionary about extending, because they had broadcasted, if it comes to us again in its current form, it's going to be struck down. And Kavanaugh is the one who broadcasted, if it comes back here again, it's going to be struck down. So that's why they changed it around.
That's so inappropriate.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
What judges do it all the time.
yeah,
Don't
that's an
they?
advisory opinion.
Well,
which is
that's true.
inappropriate.
It is true. It is
Yeah, I
true.
mean, you telling me how you gonna rule
It
before
is-
I get that.
It is true. That's
You know,
true.
I mean, and that's fine. Broadcast it so when I come to you, I can get you overturned because you have now. But the Supreme Court, there's nobody governing and overseeing that.
But there we do it all the time. We do it all the time in oral arguments. When we have an oral argument, the judge starts asking questions. We can see where it's going, and that's why you can do a non-suit if you see your stuff going downhill.
Yeah.
Right? You said because the judge is broadcasting what I'm going to do, and sometimes they'll say, "Mr. O'Neill, I guess you can kind of hear where."
I mean, you know, yeah. I mean,
Your Honor, I do kind of understand, so, and therefore I'm going to take a voluntary non-suit in this
yeah.
matter.
I mean, again, you know, I mean, what you got to look at when you're talking about those types of things
Right.
is, and that's not the advisory opinion that I'm talking about.
I got you.
Because advisory, in my opinion, is somebody sends this document to you. There's been no arguments, no real motions before you, and all you got is the pleadings. And now you're making a ruling. That's the advisory I'm talking about.
Well, that's not
if
good.
If I've submitted motions to the judge,
Right.
the other side has submitted motions, the judge's duty is to read those motions, be prepared to see if there's any positions that we're going to make that's going to change where that judge is going to rule. And if you don't make those positions based off of the questions that are being asked to you, you know it's going to go bad.
Right, right.
You know, so yeah, I mean, if you are reading those tea leaves, if you can figure out how to clean things up, but again, Jerome, the problem is certain motions you can't non-suit it. I mean, the certain motions that are if a motion for summary judgment is actually pending,
It's pending.
you can't voluntarily non-suit.
Is that right?
No.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a motion to dismiss pending, and now I'm only talking Tennessee now.
Okay, I got you.
If there's a motion to dismiss pending, you can voluntarily
Uh,
non-suit.
Well, also too. Well, is summary judgment with prejudice?
It is.
It is with prejudice.
It is.
You can't bring it back again.
It cannot.
Okay.
Yeah, motion to dismiss is not with prejudice.
Okay.
And you can bring it back. And some judges call themselves dismissing on a motion to dismiss. That we're going to dismiss as prejudice. Yeah, you can't do that. Well, I'm doing it. Hey, it's your courtroom. I'm cool. I mean,
Yeah, you mean tell me you can't dismiss with prejudice?
nah, on a motion to dismiss.
Yeah.
Rule 15, the law says specifically, if amending the complaint would correct a deficiency, you must be allowed to amend.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, and I've said that to judge. I don't care what the motion is. I mean, I'm entitled under Rule 15. I'm entitled to amend as a matter of law. I'm not amended yet.
Right.
I get one free amendment.
Right.
Now, if you've amended once,
Right.
then you don't get to do that.
You don't get a second chance.
Yeah, that's why I've always keep my amendment. I keep my one amendment in my back pocket.
I got you.
You know, and use in the case of emergency.
Right.
I
Break the glass, huh?
Break the glass out, man, pull that motion out. You know, and I've done that numerous times.
Really?
Man.
Yeah.
Because I want you to, because the defense is required to put their best arguments to get the case dismissed. And so once they do that, I
And you can hear what they're going.
man, I take their argument and rewrite my complaint.
I got you.
To confirm, to knock their, man, yeah, shoot.
I got you, Darrell.
Yeah. So, man, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
But anyway, the moratorium, it serves no beneficial scenario in Shelby County. So that puts people.
Well, let me say this too, Darrell.
Yeah.
We just had a meeting in the Memphis Bar Association, which I'm a member of, and I'm also part of the bankruptcy subcommittee. And we talked about it the other day. Currently, they have Memphis Area Legal Services has provided a person to be in the courtroom when there is a ruling about a FED or an eviction, and they have said that they can ask for a continuance for 2 weeks, and they can get those funds pretty much to the landlord within 2 weeks, because they move to the top of the list. The people who are currently being evicted, if you are in the court and you have a hearing, we always say anyway there, as a matter of law, well, not law, but what is it? Local rules say that on the first setting, any side can get a continuance for any reason. And so don't ever go in court on the first setting and allow the judge to proceed. Ask for a continuance. And I'm told that within that 2 weeks period, you can get your money.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. And here's the reason why 2 weeks is important. In Tennessee, an FED action is required to be heard within 10 days.
Oh, okay.
I think it's 10 days.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, so, you can't say I want to continuous for a month.
I always ask, like the judge told me yesterday, yeah, Mr. Payne, when a lawyer asks for 2 weeks, what they really mean is 30 days. I always ask for the whole 9 yards, and you'll get 2 weeks. But if you ask for 2 weeks, you're going to get 7 days. You follow what I'm saying? So it's nothing wrong with asking for more than what you expect to get, because you need a chance to consult with an attorney. And once you consult with the attorney, I'm told that you can get up to a year's worth of back rent. You can also get utility assistance, but you just gotta have the connections. So there's still help. The moratorium, even though it's been ruled unconstitutional, the money is available. You just gotta get on the track to get it.
Again, but that's two different issues, Darrell.
Yeah, okay.
Because the moratorium, with all due respect, doesn't exist in Shelby County.
I agree.
Yeah. So what exists is an opportunity to correct the deficiency that you have, which is lack of money. So,
that's one way of saying it.
Yeah.
That's one way of saying it. You just haven't tapped the right vein.
Tap the right vein.
Because remember, during the gold rush, some people were able to pay and go, and other ones went home busted.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much what's happening now. People, it's absolutely probably no good reason for you not to have found out how to find the goose that's laying the golden eggs.
Yeah.
Do you follow what I'm saying?
No, I get that.
There is $45 billion out there, and they've only spent $5 billion, so the other money is there. So people, don't just sit on your laurels, even if you have to work like we do. Sometimes we burn the midnight oil.
Right. Unfortunately.
Many times you got to burn the midnight oil.
Yeah. Again, I was more torn than I am now, because, and I really shouldn't have any mental sympathy.
I'm bracing myself. Yeah, what you get ready to say there?
Well, I mean, I really shouldn't have any mental sympathy, because there was a time that the government was giving you
I know where you're going.
your entire unemployment.
I know where you're going.
Plus supplementing, anywhere from $300 to $600.
That's right.
Which is way more than most people were making.
That's right.
And instead of using that money to pay their rent, they were using that money for other things. And I'm not that guy that's gonna be counting your money.
Right.
So that ain't my job. But my concern, again, I'm not counting your money.
Right.
But my concern, if you say I need help when you had the means and decided not to take advantage of those means.
Well, for one thing too, it was always floating. The idea was always floating that the government was going to come in and assist those people who had fallen into arrears. It's unfortunate that if you don't need the money, you're going to be shut out. And what I mean by that, they used to have this thing about when you try to get a loan modification, they tell you that you got to be behind. A current, you see what I'm saying?
Which the statute doesn't say anything about being
Right,
behind.
right. But that's what the mortgage company would say. Well, you demonstrated that you can do it.
Right. No, dog, I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul. That's what I'm doing.
That's exactly right.
I mean, I can't afford it,
That's
man. I can't piss it, I can't piss and throw it out the window, man.
But I'm so concerned about making these payments until I've given up on everything else. But now I'm being penalized because I'm trying to do the right thing. So sometimes doing the right thing will cut you out of the pot.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate.
Well,
and it's the same thing too when we go back to I'm always talking about how black people got to where we are now. You remember there was a time when if you had a man in the house, you could not get any kind of government aid. And so the man had to leave. So now the question is where is the man at? Well, you put him out of the house. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So a lot of negative things can come from the government trying to assist if you got the wrong people who are administering. Because we understand that a strong family unit is how we get out of where we are. You follow me? Mm-hmm. If you got a strong family unit, you can just about overcome. But if you take the man out of the house because you're trying to get an extra dollar or two, then the kids going wild. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And you don't have two people in there to discipline, because there's no way that I could have raised my children without having the assistance of a spouse. Mm-hmm. Because you get tired of raising them nucks. You know what I'm saying? And because sometimes I might be heavy-handed, and the spouse said, "Wait a minute, this doesn't call for that kind of reaction." You see what I'm saying there?
Trust me. I mean,
right.
I was the hammer, and my wife was not.
Right. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
And you need that balance.
Yeah, you gotta have it.
Yeah, but my issue really wasn't really, again, my whole issue was, again, I tell people all the time, man, I don't want you to count my money.
Right.
Because everybody want to count your money.
That's true.
So I don't want you to count my money, so I'm not going to count your money. But, and then y'all know when I said, but I discount everything I just said. But you're asking me to do something for you.
I agree.
And now you bringing me in the middle of something that I shouldn't be a part of. Because I shouldn't have to count your money.
Right.
I shouldn't be involved in counting your money. But when you bring me in the middle of it, you force me to do that.
That's true. And then you got to hear my mouth.
Then you got to hear my mouth. And that's what ended up happening,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
Now, nobody, because, and I venture to say there is going to be a lot of people at some point indicted over this money.
For sure. We're seeing it already.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a lot of people going to get indicted.
We're seeing it.
Because not only did they get the money, they were not entitled to get the money. That's number one.
Right.
They got the money and they were not entitled to get the money. Then they lied on the moratorium application. They said, I can't afford to pay. And if they put out on the street, I don't have nowhere else to go. Well, if I back into it,
okay,
you get an unemployment, because all you gotta do is track your records. And most people don't realize everything that you receive in the mail is, from the government is tracked.
Okay.
So I'm tracking you. I know that you get an unemployment check.
Okay.
I know that you get the supplemental money. So I look at your affidavit and you say, I can't afford to pay. And if you put me out, I ain't got nowhere else to go. I'm looking, you get $875 a week. Dog, your rent is only $500, $600, $700, $800.
Right.
If you take one check and pay the rent, you got 75 extra.
That's true.
So again,
that's true.
You forcing the government to count your money, and you're forcing them to make examples of somebody. And somebody's gonna get made an example of.
I hadn't thought that far about it, Darrell, because it's without proof. You don't have to have any proof at all.
No, it's a sworn declaration.
Well, but just a sworn declaration saying that based on my personal situation, the way I look at my situation, I've determined. I don't know if they said that now. Well, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if they said based on where I don't know.
Well, isn't that what you just, wait a minute there, you just said a sworn declaration from the individual that he or she is going to be homeless if they get put out.
Yeah.
And based on my circumstances, that's what's going to happen. I have nowhere to go.
Affordability. You skipped the step.
Does it say that?
Yeah,
What does
you
it-
got
what-
to step. I don't have the means.
Well, you don't have the means.
Dude, you get $875 a week.
Yeah,
How come you not, how
yeah,
come not have the
yeah,
means?
but it's being spent in other places. It's being spent to purchase a vehicle. It's being spent to pay the utility
You
bill.
want to live in your vehicle then?
To pay the utility bill. It's being spent because I have a child who is ill. I have a child who needs special circumstances, special
That is
meds.
the extreme circumstances.
Well-
And there's probably 1 in 200,000 that run into that circumstance. Because, again, if
Poor is poor there.
dog,
Poor,
I know it, I've been
poor
it. I know
is
it.
poor
Nah,
is poor. And you can just can you imagine how stuff just snowballs? You go out to the car, and my employees told me the other day sometimes that I'm putting air in the tire every day.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I can't afford to buy a tire. I go outside and the car won't start with a battery because my battery is down. So people in those situations compound. And then I saw a commercial the other day said, I know what I'll do. I'm going to call CashNet USA.
Or call the title loan.
That's the worst thing in the world to do.
Right.
So that's $2,400 now, which compounds almost daily. So you just never know a person's situation there. You gotta invest. It's deeper than I'm getting $875 a month.
Look, let me just say that. Now, that, what you just said, I do not disagree with.
Yeah, it's deeper than that.
Look, because the blight is for real.
Yes.
Financial ability is for real. I mean, we know as a whole, the average income in Shelby County is what, 18,000?
We talked about that many times on this show.
So obviously, if you're making that kind of money, there's a question of whether or not you are able to afford.
That is exactly right.
So I mean, I get that part of it.
And so I don't have any financial
But
literacy
if I
at
add
all.
another $600 to that.
Initially, it's coming in, but it's going out faster. Look, it's like putting it in a bucket with a hole in it. It's just running through. And so what we have to do is have to teach people financial literacy. We have to show them, because remember, your rent and your housing shouldn't be any more than 25% of your. Is that what it is there?
I think you may be right.
25% of your income should be all you put toward your housing.
Yeah.
And then the other part is groceries and transportation.
I think you may be right.
So,
because I know there's been times where I was saying that when they do your evaluation, they want to make sure that you can. Because I bought property and and they said, well, you don't make but X. Dog, I make more than that.
Right.
Because what they're supposed to do is evaluate.
That's
the
exactly
entire
right.
package.
Exactly right.
And so if they look at that package and they say, you want a house and that house costs X, you make X, the payment's going to be Y.
Right.
Then you're not going to qualify.
That's right.
I don't care how much money, it appears that you make. Because unfortunately, us, we make our number to be not as much as we really want it to be. And I'm not talking about we're fudging the number.
I got you.
I mean, my salary may be X.
Right.
But I have other things, paying expenses and things of that nature where I don't really need but Y.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
anyway, Jerome, let's talk about bankruptcy next week.
Okay. Because there is still a way out there.
We need to tell the people now.
Yeah.
Now that we have understood that this moratorium is not, the end all. It's not what we thought it was going to be.
Right.
So what's the next step?
Okay.
If you can't get money from Miles or the other agencies, what's the next step? So thank you for watching the show. We'll see you back next week.
SVP, SVP,